Victor sets a dangerous plan in motion by instructing Adam to track down Lily, Maddie, and Charlie. He admits he has no intention of physically harming them, but intends to stage a false flag situation designed to terrify Kane into returning to the bargaining table. The move signals just how far Victor is willing to go to regain control. This strategy sparks internal tension within the Newman family. Victoria regrets not doing more to shield the company from Kane's advances and grows increasingly frustrated when Victor shuts her out of the plan, while confiding in Adam instead. Nikki and Victoria both worry that Victor's escalating feud with Kane, who is operating under the alias Aristotle Dumas, is pushing the family toward what they describe as a disaster of a time. Elsewhere, the fallout from the Matt Clark saga continues. It is officially confirmed that Matt Clark has been arrested and is being held without bail. Sharon feels relieved by the news, but Nick remains unconvinced that Matt is truly out of their lives. Sienna Beale prepares to return to Los Angeles after finalizing an annulment and securing Matt's assets. Noah Newman makes a life-changing decision of his own. Despite recently becoming the owner of the Shadow Room, he commits to following Sienna to Los Angeles. He plans to manage the club remotely, continuing the same longue distance arrangement he already maintains with his London business. At the Abbott mansion, an unexpected emotional moment unfolds. Harrison summons Kyle and Claire under the pretense of an emergency only to reveal a personal project. He quizzes them on their favorite things in an attempt to prove they are still a perfect match. Although Kyle and Claire agree to remain just friends for Harrison's sake, unresolved feelings surface. Kyle admits he misses her while Claire lingers with visible sadness after their interaction. Complicating matters further, Clara receives a text from Holden Novak and quickly leaves to meet him. The move signals a growing emotional shift and a widening gap between her and Kyle. Looking ahead, Nick and Sharon prepare to hold Phyllis accountable for her role in Kane's corporate sabotage. At the same time, a darker threat begins to quietly build as Mariah Copeland spirals under the influence of Ian Ward, setting the stage for even greater danger. The Young and the Restless spoilers, Victor's false flag, and family fallout. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Monday's episode of The Young and the Restless was absolutely packed with drama, family tension, and romantic complications. We got confirmation about Victor's twisted plan against Kane. We saw the aftermath of the Matt Clark situation, and we witnessed some serious emotional moments between Kyle and CLA. So, let's break down everything that happened and what it means moving forward. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because this week is going to be intense, and you need to be here for every update. Alright, let's dive in. Now, we've been talking for days about Victor's plan to use Lily, Maddie, and Charlie as leverage against Kane, and Monday's episode finally gave us the details of what Victor's actually planning. And honestly, it's both better and worse than we thought. Victor instructs Adam to track down Lily, Maddie, and Charlie. But here's the crucial part. Victor admits he's not actually going to hurt them. He's not planning a real kidnapping. He's not going to put them in physical danger. What he's planning is a false flag operation. He's going to fake a dangerous situation to terrify Kane back to the bargaining table. Think about what that means. Victor's going to create the illusion that Lily and the kids are in danger. He's going to make Kane believe that something terrible is happening to his family. And he's going to use that terror, that panic to force Kane to back down from his attack on Newman Enterprises. It's psychological warfare at its finest. And it's exactly the kind of thing Victor Newman excels at. But here's the thing. Even though Victor is not planning to actually hurt anyone, what he's planning is still incredibly manipulative and potentially traumatic. Because if Kane believes his family is in real danger, if he experiences that terror even for a short time, that's going to affect him. That's going to leave scars. And if Lily, Maddie, and Charlie find out that they were used as pawns in Victor's scheme, even if they were never actually in danger, they're going to feel violated. They're going to feel like their safety and well-being were treated as tools in a corporate war they didn't choose to be part of. So, Victor's plan might be less evil than a real kidnapping, but it's still morally questionable. It's still using innocent people's lives and safety as bargaining chips. And not everyone in the Newman family is comfortable with this approach. Victoria expresses regret for not protecting the company better against Kane. She's blaming herself for the current crisis, for not seeing Kane's attack coming, for not being prepared to defend Newman Enterprises. And on top of that guilt, she's feeling frustrated and hurt because Victor is shutting her out of his strategy. He's choosing to confide in Adam instead of her. Think about how that must feel for Victoria. She's been working at Newman Enterprises her entire adult life. She's proven herself over and over. She's fought for the company, sacrificed for it, dedicated everything to it. And now, in a critical moment when the company's under attack, her father is turning to Adam instead of her. He's treating Adam as his trusted confidant while keeping Victoria in the dark. That's not just professionally frustrating. That's personally hurtful because it suggests Victor doesn't trust Victoria's judgment or value her input as much as he trusts Adam's. And whether that perception is accurate or not, it's how Victoria feels. And that feeling is going to affect her relationship with both Victor and Adam moving forward. But Victoria is not the only family member who's worried about Victor's approach. Nikki's concerned, too. Nikki and Victoria have a conversation where they express worry that Victor's escalating feud with Kane, who's using the alias Aristotle Dumas, is pushing the family into a disaster of a time. And they're probably right, because Victor's strategy isn't just about winning the corporate battle. It's personal for him. It's about destroying Kane completely, about making him pay for daring to attack the Newman Empire. And when Victor gets personal, when he lets his emotions drive his decisions, things tend to spiral out of control. Collateral damage happens. Innocent people get hurt, and the situation becomes much worse than it needed to be. So Nikki and Victoria can see the warning signs. They can see that Victor's approach is going to create more problems than it solves. But they also know that once Victor's made up his mind, once he's committed to a course of action, it's almost impossible to change his mind. So, all they can do is express their concerns and hope that Victor listens. But we all know Victor rarely listens to warnings, even from the people who love him most. Now, let's shift gears and talk about what's happening with the Matt Clark situation because Monday's episode gave us some important updates. It's officially confirmed that Matt Clark has been arrested and is being held without bail, so the immediate threat is neutralized. Matt's off the streets. He can't hurt Sharon or anyone else while he's locked up. And Sharon is relieved.
Of course she is.
For months, she's been terrorized by Matt. She's been gaslit, manipulated, threatened, and now he's finally behind bars where he can't reach her. But Nick remains skeptical that Matt is truly defeated. And we've already talked in previous videos about why Nick's skepticism is probably justified. Matt's slippery. He's resourceful. He's escaped before. And there's every reason to believe he might escape again. So, while Sharon's allowing herself to feel safe, Nick's still on guard. He's still watching. Still waiting for the other shoe to drop. And that difference in their perspectives is going to create tension between them because Sharon wants to move on, wants to put this nightmare behind her and start healing. But Nick's constant warnings, his refusal to believe it's really over is going to make it hard for her to do that. So even though they're on the same side, even though they both want Matt to pay for what he's done, they're approaching the aftermath very differently. Meanwhile, Sienna Beale is preparing to return to Los Angeles. She's gotten an annulment from Matt and secured his assets. So, she's cutting ties with this chapter of her life and moving on. And that makes sense. Sienna's been through hell. Her marriage turned out to be a nightmare. The man she thought she knew turned out to be a violent, manipulative criminal. So, of course, she wants to get as far away from Genoa City and all the trauma associated with it as possible. But here's where things get complicated. Noah Newman decides to follow Sienna to Los Angeles. Think about what that means. Noah just became the owner of the Shadow Room. He's got a thriving business in Genoa City. He's got family here, connections, the life, and he's willing to leave all of that to follow Sienna to LA. Now, Noah is planning to manage the club remotely, mirroring the arrangement he has with his London business. So, it's not like he's completely abandoning his responsibilities. But still, choosing to physically relocate to another city to be with someone is a big deal. And it raises questions about Noah's state of mind. Is he making this decision because he's genuinely in love with Sienna and wants to build a life with her? Or is he running away from the trauma of recent events, discovering his father's plan to murder someone, dealing with all the family chaos? Because following someone to another city can be romantic, but it can also be avoidance. It can be a way of escaping problems rather than facing them. And we don't know yet which one this is for Noah, but we're going to find out soon enough. Now, let's talk about Kyle and Claire because Monday's episode gave us some seriously emotional moments between these two. Harrison summons Kyle and Claire to the Abbott mansion under the guise of an emergency. And of course, both of them rush over immediately because Harrison's involved. But it turns out there's no real emergency. This is a project that Harrison's created. He quizzes Kyle and Claire on their favorite things to prove they are still a perfect match. Think about how sweet and heartbreaking that is at the same time. Harrison's a kid who just wants his parents or the people he sees as his parents to be together. He doesn't understand all the complicated adult reasons why Kyle and Claire aren't a couple anymore. So, he's trying to fix it in the way that makes sense to him. He's trying to show them that they're compatible, that they belong together, that they should give their relationship another chance. And watching Kyle and Claire go through this quiz, answering questions about each other's favorite things, seeing how well they actually know each other. It's both adorable and painful because they clearly still have feelings for each other. They clearly still care, but they've agreed to stay just friends for Harrison's sake, and that agreement is already proving difficult to maintain. Kyle admits to Harrison that he misses Claire. That's a huge admission. Kyle's acknowledging in front of his son that he still has feelings for Claire, that their breakup has left a void in his life. And Claire's affected, too. The spoilers say she's seen looking back at Kyle with sadness. So, even though she's the one who walked away, even though she's the one who decided they needed to be just friends, she's feeling the loss, too. So we've got two people who clearly still love each other, who clearly still want to be together on some level, but who are both committed to staying apart for what they believe are good reasons. And that kind of situation is torture because every interaction is going to be loaded with unspoken feelings. Every moment together is going to be a reminder of what they've lost. But here's where things get even more complicated. Despite her lingering feelings for Kyle, Claire rushes off to meet Holden Novak after receiving a text from him. So Claire's already moving on, or at least she's trying to move on. She's making herself available to someone new, even though her heart is clearly still with Kyle. And that's going to create a whole new layer of complications. Because if Claire starts dating Holden, if she tries to build something with him while still having feelings for Kyle, someone's going to get hurt. Either Claire's going to end up hurting Holden because she can't fully commit to him while she's still emotionally attached to Kyle, or she's going to hurt herself by forcing herself into a relationship that doesn't feel right just because she's trying to move on. And Kyle's going to have to watch all of this happen. He's going to have to see Claire with another man, knowing that she's trying to replace what they had. And that's going to be devastating for him, especially after he just admitted to Harrison that he misses her. So, we're heading toward a situation where both Kyle and Claire are miserable, where Harrison's confused and hurt, and where new people like Holden are getting caught in the middle of unresolved feelings. It's a mess, and it's only going to get messier before it gets better. Now, let's zoom out and look at what else is coming this week, because Monday's episode set up several storylines that are going to explode in the coming days. Nick and Sharon are set to hold Phyllis accountable for her role in Kane's corporate sabotage. We've already talked about this in detail, but Monday's episode reinforced that this confrontation is coming, and it's going to be brutal. Sharon and Nick are united in their anger. They're both fed up with Phyllis's choices, and they're both ready to make her pay. And Phyllis, being Phyllis, is going to fight back. She's not going to just accept their criticism and apologize. She's going to defend herself, argue that she's justified, and refuse to back down. So that confrontation, when it happens, is going to be explosive. It's going to bring up years of history, old wounds, deep resentments, and it's going to damage relationships that might never fully recover. But while the Newmans are focused on Kane and Matt, while they're dealing with corporate warfare and criminal prosecutions, a darker threat is building in the background. Mariah Copeland is beginning to spiral under the influence of Ian Ward. Monday's episode mentioned this as a looming crisis, and we already know from other spoilers that Mariah is going to kidnap Dominic, that she's going to flee with him, that this is going to become a massive, devastating storyline. But on Monday, most characters are still unaware. They're focused on other problems. They don't realize that Mariah's mental state is deteriorating so rapidly. And that's what makes this so tragic, because by the time people realize what's happening, by the time they recognize how serious Mariah's crisis is, it's going to be too late. Dominic's going to be gone, and everyone's going to be asking themselves how they missed the warning signs. So Monday's episode is setting up multiple collisions. We got the confrontation between Nick, Sharon, and Phyllis coming. We've got Victor's false flag operation against Kane about to unfold. We've got Matt potentially planning an escape from custody. We've got Noah following Sienna to LA. We've got Kyle and Claire struggling with their feelings while Claire starts seeing Holden. And we've got Mariah's mental breakdown building toward a kidnapping. That's a lot of drama converging at the same time. And it means this week is going to be absolutely chaotic. Let me talk about Victoria's frustration with Victor for just another moment, because this dynamic is really important for understanding the Newman family's current state. Victoria has always struggled with feeling like she has to constantly prove herself to Victor. She's worked harder than anyone, sacrificed more than anyone, dedicated her entire life to Newman Enterprises, and yet Victor still doesn't always treat her as his equal or his trusted advisor. Instead, he turns to Adam, the son who's been in and out of the family, who's betrayed Victor multiple times, who's been unreliable and unpredictable. And somehow, that's who Victor chooses to confide in about his most important strategies. From Victoria's perspective, that's got to be infuriating. It's got to feel like no matter what she does, no matter how loyal she is, she's never going to be Victor's first choice. And that resentment, that hurt is going to affect everything Victoria does moving forward. It's going to make her question her place in the company and in the family. It's going to make her wonder if all her sacrifices have been worth it. And it might even push her to make decisions she wouldn't normally make. Because if Victor doesn't value her input, if he's going to shut her out anyway, then why should she follow his lead? Why shouldn't she pursue her own strategy for dealing with Kane? So, Victor's choice to confide in Adam instead of Victoria isn't just a minor slight. It's a crack in the foundation of the family's unity. And as the pressure increases, as the situation with Kane escalates, that crack could become a full break. Now, let's think about Nikki's position in all of this. Because Nikki's caught between supporting her husband and recognizing that his approach is dangerous, Nikki loves Victor. She stood by him through countless schemes, conflicts, and crisis. She's defended him when others questioned his methods. She's been his partner in every sense of the word. But even Nikki has limits. Even she can see when Victor's going too far, when his need for revenge is clouding his judgment, when his tactics are going to cause more harm than good. So what does Nikki do? Does she confront Victor directly and demand he change his approach? Does she work behind the scenes to try to moderate his strategy? Or does she step back and let him handle this his way, even though she knows it's probably going to end badly? Those are difficult choices. And whatever Nikki decides, she's going to have to live with the consequences. So, here's what I want to know from you. Do you think Victor's false flag operation is justified? Is faking a dangerous situation to terrify someone morally acceptable if you're not planning to actually hurt anyone? What about Victoria's frustration with being shut out? Do you think Victor's wrong for turning to Adam instead of her? Or does Adam bring something to the table that Victoria doesn't? And what about Noah following Sienna to LA? Do you think that's a romantic gesture? Or is he running away from his problems in Genoa City? What about Kyle and Claire? Do you think they're going to get back together? Or is Claire's relationship with Holden going to become something real? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me what you thought of Monday's episode, and what you think is going to happen as all of these storylines continue to develop. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because this week is going to be absolutely packed with drama, and you need to be here for every update. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next video, and remember, in Genoa City, family loyalty is constantly tested and trust is always conditional. Stay dramatic.